The stars looked different from the bridge of the Meridian Dawn. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the wide window, watching the strange blue light of the Kepler 442 system paint everything in an alien glow. He had been in space for 15 years, but this felt different. This was the farthest any human had ever traveled from Earth. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Amy Rodriguez from her station. She was young, maybe 25, with quick fingers that danced over the communication. "Controls. It's them. The Zephyrians." Jake turned away from the window. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. His crew of 12 had been chosen carefully for this mission. Each person was the best at what they did. They had to be. This was humanity's first real meeting with an alien race that could actually talk back. "Put them on screen," Jake said. The main display lit up with an image that made everyone on the bridge hold their breath. The Zephyrian ship was beautiful, in a way that hurt to look at. It was made of what looked like living crystal, all smooth curves and sharp angles that seemed to bend light around itself. It was 3 times the size of the Meridian Dawn, but it moved through space like a dancer. "They're requesting permission to dock at the meeting station," Amy said. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the excitement underneath. The meeting station hung in space between the 2 ships. It had taken Earth's best engineers 2 years to build it. The station was simple compared to the Zephyrian ship, just metal and glass and human technology. But it was neutral ground, a place where 2 species could meet safely. "Tell them yes," Jake said. "And Amy, remind them that we're honored to meet them." Dr. Lisa Chang looked up from her science station. She was a small woman with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Captain, my readings show their ship is using technology we don't understand. The energy signatures are completely alien." "That's why we're here, Lisa," Jake said. "To learn." Ryan Peters, the security chief, was checking his weapon for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. He was a big man, built like a wall, with scars on his hands from his time in the military. "Sir, are you sure we shouldn't have more security?" 12 people, Ryan. That's what we agreed on. Same as them. Jake straightened his uniform. It was the formal blue of the Earth Space Service, with gold trim that caught the light. If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it already. The trip to the meeting station took 20 minutes. Jake, Lisa, Amy, and Ryan took the shuttle while the rest of the crew stayed on the Meridian Dawn. The station was bigger than it looked from the ship, with wide corridors and rooms designed for beings that might be very different from humans. They waited in the main meeting room. The walls were clear, showing the stars outside. Jake could see both ships, human and alien, hanging in space like promises of the future. "Sensors show they're docking now," Lisa said, looking at her portable scanner. 12 life forms, just like they said. The door opened with a soft hiss. Jake stood up, and so did the others. This was it, the moment that would change everything. The Zephyrians moved like water. They were tall, maybe 8 feet, with skin that was see-through like glass. Jake could see their insides, organs that pulsed with soft light. They had 4 arms each, long and graceful, and their faces were beautiful in a way that made humans feel clumsy. The leader stepped forward. His skin was a little less clear than the others, showing his age. "I am Ambassador Veltar," he said. His voice came from a small device on his chest, translating his words into English. "We greet you, humans of Earth." "I am Captain Jake Morrison," Jake said, stepping forward. "We are honored to meet you." The ceremony was formal but friendly. The Zephyrians had brought gifts, strange crystals that sang when touched, and bottles of liquid that glowed like captured starlight. The humans gave them books, music, and art from Earth. Simple things but precious because they showed what humans were like. "We have prepared a special gift," Veltar said after the formal exchange was done. "Something to show our trust in your species." He gestured to the other Zephyrians. They moved to the side, and Jake heard Amy gasp behind him. Through the door came something that made every human in the room step back. It was huge, maybe 8 feet tall and covered in scales that were black as space. It had 6 eyes that glowed like stars, and when it moved, Jake could see muscles that could crush steel. Its claws were as long as knives, and its teeth were sharp enough to cut through the station's hull. "This is a Void Stalker," Veltar said. His voice was proud but careful. "It is the greatest predator from our world. We have never shared one with another species before." The creature looked at the humans with all 6 eyes. Jake could feel its intelligence, cold and calculating. This was not just an animal, this was something that could think, something that could plan. "It is beautiful," Lisa whispered. "It is deadly," Veltar said. "On our world, even we fear them. They are perfect, hunters. Nothing can stop them when they choose to kill, but we have learned to contain them, to keep them safe from others and others safe from them." Ryan's hand moved toward his weapon, but Jake caught his eye and shook his head. The security chief's hand fell back to his side. "Why do you give us such a dangerous gift?" Jake asked. Veltar's skin changed color slightly, showing what might have been emotion. "Because dangerous gifts show true trust. We believe humans are worthy of handling our most dangerous creation. This Void Stalker will help you understand us, and help us understand you." The creature made a sound, low and rumbling like distant thunder. It was looking at Jake now, all 6 eyes focused on him. Jake felt like he was being measured, judged by something that had never seen a human before. "We accept your gift," Jake said, "and we will treat it with the respect it deserves." The Zephyrians seemed pleased. They began to explain how the Void Stalker would be housed, what it ate, how it behaved. But Jake kept watching the creature. There was something in its eyes, something that reminded him of the wild animals he had known as a child on his family's ranch in Montana. Something that would soon change everything. 3 days had passed since the first meeting. The space station felt different now, alive with the energy of 2 species learning about each other. Jake Morrison walked through the corridors, watching humans and Zephyrians work together in the science labs. The Void Stalker lived in a special room deep in the station. The walls were made of the strongest materials both species could create together. Energy fields hummed around the creature, keeping it safe and keeping everyone else safe from it. Dr. Lisa Chang spent most of her time there, studying the magnificent predator. "It's incredible, Captain," she told Jake as they stood outside the containment room. "Look at how it moves." Through the clear wall, Jake could see the Void Stalker pacing. Its black scales caught the light like oil on water. The creature moved with perfect grace, every step planned and smooth. Its 6 eyes were always watching, always thinking. "It's smart," Jake said. "Maybe smarter than we thought." The Zephyrians were right to be careful with it, Lisa said. "Every part of its body is built for killing. Those claws could cut through our ship's hull. Its teeth could bite through steel. And those eyes see everything." A Zephyrian scientist named Kethamor joined them. His skin was a pale blue color, showing his excitement. "Your species learns quickly," he said through his translator. "But be careful. The Void Stalker studies you as much as you study it." Jake watched the creature stop pacing and look directly at him. All 6 eyes focused on his face. For a moment, Jake felt like he was looking at something that could see into his soul. "Has it ever escaped before?" Jake asked. Kethamor's skin turned a darker blue. "Once, on our homeworld, it killed 7 of our people before we could contain it again. We learned to respect its power after that." Amy Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system. "Captain Morrison to the bridge, we have a problem." Jake hurried to the bridge with Ryan Peters beside him. The security chief had been nervous since they arrived at the station. "What kind of problem?" Ryan asked as they walked. "Space weather," Amy said when they reached the bridge. "There's a solar flare coming from the local star. It's big, Captain, really big." On the main screen, Jake could see the star that lit this system. It looked angry, with flames shooting out from its surface. "How long do we have?" 20 minutes, said Tom Bradley, the ship's engineer. He was a thin man with grease on his fingers and worry in his eyes. "The flare will hit the station first. Our ship should be okay, but the station's shields weren't built for something this strong." Jake opened a channel to the Zephyrians. "Ambassador Veltar, We need to talk. The alien appeared on screen quickly. His skin was flashing colors that Jake had learned meant concern. We see the flare, Captain. Our ships can protect themselves, but the station... We need to evacuate, Jake said. Get everyone off the station and onto the ships. What about the Void Stalker? Veltar asked. Jake looked at the readings Amy was showing him. The solar flare was huge, bigger than anything Earth had ever recorded. We'll have to move it to one of the ships. Impossible, Veltar said. His skin turned bright red. The containment system cannot be moved. It is built into the station itself. Then we strengthen the shields around its room, Jake said. Make sure it survives the flare. The next 15 minutes were chaos. Humans and Zephyrians worked together, moving equipment and people to the ships. The station's corridors filled with the sound of running feet and worried voices. Dr. Chang stayed with the Void Stalker, checking its containment systems. The energy fields are holding, she reported. But Captain, if the power fails... It won't fail, Jake said, but he wasn't sure. The solar flare was getting closer, and the station's shields were already starting to strain. Then the flare hit. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. The station shook like a ship in a storm. Jake was thrown against a wall as the artificial gravity flickered. Power grid is failing. Tom's voice came over the radio. I'm losing systems, all over the station. Jake pulled himself to his feet. What about the containment area? The main power is down, but backup systems are holding. Lisa's voice was tight with worry. Wait, I'm reading multiple failures. The energy fields are dropping. Jake felt his blood go cold. How long? Maybe 5 minutes if we're lucky. Over. The radio, Jake could hear Veltar talking to his people in their own language. The translator couldn't keep up, but Jake could hear the fear in the alien's voice. Captain, Ryan said, we need to get everyone off this station now. But it was too late. The station's communication system crackled to life with a sound Jake had never heard before. It was low and rumbling, like distant thunder mixed with the purr of a giant cat. The Void Stalker, Lisa whispered over the radio. It's free. Jake grabbed his weapon and started running toward the containment area. Behind him, he could hear Ryan calling for backup, but Jake knew there wasn't time. The creature had been contained for 3 days, studied and watched by beings it had never seen before. Now it was free in a station full of strange smells and sounds with nowhere to run and no understanding of where it was. Jake reached the containment area to find the door torn open. Metal that should have been impossible to break was bent and twisted like paper. The Void Stalker was gone. All personnel, this is Captain Morrison, Jake said into his radio. We have a containment breach. The Void Stalker is loose in the station. Everyone get to the ships immediately. But even as he said it, Jake could hear screaming from somewhere in the station. The creature had found someone. The perfect predator was hunting again, and this time its prey was completely helpless. The screaming came from Observation Deck 7. Jake Morrison ran through the red-lit corridors of the station, his boots echoing on the metal floor. Behind him, Ryan Peters was calling for all security teams to get to the deck, but Jake knew he would be first to arrive. The station shook again as another wave from the solar flare hit the shields. Emergency lights flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. Jake could hear his heart beating as he ran. He had faced danger before, but nothing like this. He reached the observation deck and stopped. The door was closed, but he could hear sounds from inside. Low growling mixed with terrified voices speaking in the musical language of the Zephyrians. Through the small window in the door, Jake could see movement. Jake opened the door slowly and stepped inside. The observation deck was the most beautiful room on the station, with huge windows showing the stars outside. Right now, those windows showed the angry red glow of the solar flare. In the center of the room, the Void Stalker stood over 5 Zephyrian civilians. The creature was even more frightening outside its cage. Its black scales seemed to drink the light, and its 6 eyes glowed like burning coals. Its claws were extended, each one as long as Jake's hand and sharp enough to cut through anything. The Zephyrians hugged each other in terror. Their skin had turned completely white, which Jake had learned meant they were scared beyond thinking. One of them was just a child, smaller than the others, with skin so clear Jake could see its heart beating fast. The Void Stalker lowered its head toward the group. Its mouth opened, showing teeth that could bite a person in half. Jake could see it getting ready to kill. "Hey!" Jake shouted. The creature's head snapped toward him. All 6 eyes locked onto Jake's face. For a moment nothing moved except the slow rise and fall of the predator's breathing. Ryan Peters appeared in the doorway behind Jake. The big security chief raised his weapon, a plasma rifle that could burn through steel. He fired 3 shots at the Void Stalker. The energy bolts hit the creature's scales and bounced off like raindrops. The Void Stalker didn't even look at Ryan. Its attention stayed focused on Jake, as if the weapon hadn't touched it at all. "Captain, get back," Ryan said. "The weapons aren't working." But Jake did something that made everyone in the room hold their breath. He stepped forward. "Easy there, big guy," Jake said. His voice was calm and quiet, like he was talking to a scared horse instead of a monster that could kill everyone on the station. "You're confused, aren't you? This isn't your home." The Void Stalker tilted its massive head. The movement was slow and careful, almost curious. Its 6 eyes never left Jake's face. Jake took another step closer. The Zephyrians made small sounds of fear, sure they were about to watch the human captain die. Even Ryan was whispering into his radio, calling for backup that might not arrive in time. "You're not a monster," Jake continued, his voice steady and calm. "You're just doing what you're supposed to do. But right now I need you to listen to me." The creature made a sound Jake had never heard before. It was deep and rumbling, but not angry. It sounded almost like it was asking a question. Jake was now close enough to touch the Void Stalker. He could see every detail of its perfect predator's body. Its muscles moved under its scales like coiled springs. Its claws could open him from head to toe with one swipe. Its teeth could crush his bones without effort. But Jake wasn't afraid. He had grown up on a ranch in Montana, working with animals that could hurt him if he made a mistake. Bulls that weighed a ton. Horses that could kick his head off. Wild dogs that came down from the mountains looking for food. He had learned something important during those years. Fear made animals more dangerous, not less. Calm made them listen. "That's right," Jake said softly, reaching out his hand. "You can smell that I'm different, can't you? Not like them. Not prey." The Void Stalker's nose was close to Jake's hand now. Jake could feel the creature's breath, warm and smelling of metal and starlight. The predator's 6 eyes studied Jake's face like it was trying to solve a puzzle. Then something impossible happened. The Void Stalker sat down. Its huge body settled onto the metal floor with a sound like thunder. The claws retracted. The teeth disappeared behind closed lips. The glow in its eyes changed from the fire of hunting to something softer. Jake placed his hand on the creature's snout. The scales felt warm and smooth, like polished stone. The Void Stalker made that deep rumbling sound again. But now Jake recognized it was purring. Behind him, Jake could hear Ryan breathing hard. The Zephyrians had stopped making scared sounds. Even the child had gone quiet, staring at the human who had done something no Zephyrian had ever managed to do. "How?" one of the Zephyrians whispered. "How did you make it obey?" Jake looked back at them, his hand still resting on the Void Stalker's head. "I didn't make it do anything," he said. "I just showed it that I understood." The creature looked up at Jake with all 6 eyes. In them, Jake saw something he recognized. Intelligence, yes, but more than that. Recognition. The Void Stalker saw something in Jake that it had never seen in a Zephyrian. It saw another predator, one who had chosen to be something more. The silence in the observation deck was broken only by the soft purring of the Void Stalker. Jake Morrison kept his hand on the creature's head, feeling the vibrations through its skull. The beast that had terrified an entire advanced civilization was now calm under his touch. Ambassador Veltar appeared in the doorway, flanked by 3 Zephyrian guards. Their weapons were raised, but they stopped when they saw the scene before them. The ambassador's skin cycled through colors Jake had never seen before, patterns that showed complete confusion. "This is impossible," Veltar whispered. His translator, struggled with the alien words that followed. No being has ever controlled a void stalker, not even our greatest animal masters. The Zephyrian civilians slowly stood up. The child moved closer to its parent, but its clear eyes never left Jake and the creature. Fear was being replaced by wonder on their translucent faces. Dr. Lisa Chang arrived with her portable scanner in hand. She moved carefully around the edge of the room, taking readings. "Captain, this is remarkable. The creature's stress hormones have dropped to almost nothing. Its brain activity shows complete calm." Jake scratched behind what might have been the void stalker's ears. The creature leaned into the touch like a giant cat. "It's not about control, Lisa. It never was." Ryan Peters lowered his weapon but kept it ready. "Sir, how did you know it would respond like this?" Jake thought about his childhood on the ranch. He remembered his grandfather teaching him about the wild animals that came down from the mountains. "When I was a kid, we had problems with mountain lions, big cats that would come for our cattle. Most ranchers would shoot them, but my grandfather taught me something different." The void stalker's 6 eyes were half closed now, like it was enjoying the attention. Jake continued scratching its head as he talked. He said the cats weren't evil. They were just doing what cats do. But if you understood them, if you showed them respect instead of fear, sometimes you could find another way. Amy Rodriguez had joined the group, her communication equipment beeping with messages from both ships. "Captain, both the Meridian Dawn and the Zephyrian vessel are requesting status updates. Should I tell them the situation is under control?" "Tell them we're fine," Jake said. "But Amy, record everything. This is important." Veltar stepped closer, his skin now showing patterns of amazement. "Captain Morrison, our people have studied void stalkers for thousands of years. We have built machines to contain them, drugs to slow them down, energy fields to hold them. But never has one simply chosen to be peaceful." Dr. Chang was studying her readings with growing excitement. "The brain scans are incredible. When the captain first approached, the void stalker's mind showed patterns I've never seen. It was like it recognized something." "What kind of something?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure yet, but..." Lisa looked at her scanner again. "Captain, can you move away from the creature for a moment?" Jake slowly took his hand away from the void stalker's head. The creature's eyes opened fully and tracked his movement, but it didn't get up or show any signs of aggression. It just watched him with intelligent curiosity. "Now approach it again," Lisa said. Jake walked toward the creature. As he got closer, Lisa's scanner began beeping faster. "There! Do you see that? The moment you get within 10 feet, its brain activity changes. Not stress, not fear. Recognition." "Recognition of what?" Veltar asked. Lisa looked at the readings, then at Jake, then at the void stalker. "I think it recognizes him as another apex predator." The room went quiet except for the creature's purring. Jake sat down on the floor next to the void stalker. The massive predator immediately moved closer, resting its head near Jake's shoulder. "Humans are predators," Jake said quietly. "We hunted in packs. We used tools. We were smart and dangerous, and we survived by being better killers than anything else on our planet." Veltar's skin showed deep blue patterns. "But you are civilized. You have moved beyond such things." Jake shook his head. "We didn't move beyond them. We learned to control them. We learned to choose when to be predators and when to be something else. This guy recognizes that in me." The void stalker made a sound that was almost like agreement. Its massive head rubbed against Jake's arm with surprising gentleness. Dr. Chang was taking more readings. "The creature's responses are getting stronger. Captain, I think it's beginning to trust you." "Trust goes both ways," Jake said. He stood, up slowly, and the void stalker stood with him. "Come on, big guy, let's get you back to somewhere safe." Jake started walking toward the door. The void stalker followed him like an enormous, deadly pet. The Zephyrians pressed against the walls as they passed, but the creature ignored them completely. Its attention was focused on Jake. In the corridor, more people had gathered. Humans and Zephyrians stood together watching something that should have been impossible. The most dangerous predator in known space was following a human like a trained dog. "The containment area is destroyed," Ryan said as they walked. "Where are we taking it?" "The cargo bay on the Meridian Dawn," Jake said. "We'll set up a temporary enclosure there." Veltar walked beside them, his skin still showing amazement. "Captain, do you understand what this means? If humans can communicate with Void Stalkers, if you can work with them instead of simply containing them." Jake looked down at the creature, walking beside him. Six Eyes looked back, intelligent and curious. "It means we have a lot to learn about each other." The Void Stalker purred its agreement, and for the first time since the crisis began, Jake smiled. They had just discovered something that would change how both species understood the nature of intelligence, cooperation, and strength. 1 week later, the Meridian Dawn floated peacefully in space near the meeting station. The station's power had been fixed, and the damage from the solar flare was being repaired. But everything had changed since that day in the observation deck. Jake Morrison stood in the cargo bay of his ship, watching the Void Stalker explore its new home. They had built a large enclosure, but the creature rarely used the barriers. It preferred to stay close to Jake or the other humans who had learned to work with it. Dr. Lisa Chang was at her portable lab, studying readings she had taken all week. "Captain, the data is amazing. The creature has bonded with our entire crew, but the connection is strongest with you." Jake scratched the Void Stalker behind what he had decided were its ears. The creature leaned into the touch, making its deep, purring sound. "It's not just me anymore. Amy got it to follow her yesterday, and even Ryan is starting to understand." Security Chief Ryan Peters walked into the cargo bay carrying a large piece of meat. The Void Stalker looked at him with interest but didn't move until Jake nodded. Then it walked over to Ryan, took the food gently from his hands, and even let the big man pat its head. 3 weeks ago, I would have said this was impossible," Ryan said. "Now I'm hand-feeding the most dangerous predator in the galaxy." The cargo bay doors opened and Ambassador Veltar entered with 3 other Zephyrians. They moved carefully, but they no longer showed the fear patterns they had displayed a week ago. The Void Stalker looked at them and made a soft sound that Jake had learned meant greeting. "Captain Morrison," Veltar said, his skin showing patterns of respect. "We have received a message from our homeworld. The Council wants to meet with you." Jake looked up from where he was sitting next to the Void. "Stalker, what kind of meeting?" "The kind that changes everything," Veltar said. "Word of what happened here has spread throughout our space. Other species want to know about the humans who can speak to Void Stalkers." Dr. Chang looked up from her work. "Speak to them. We're not really speaking, it's more like understanding." "To most of the galaxy, there is no difference," Veltar said. "For 3,000 years, Void Stalkers have been seen as uncontrollable forces of nature. Beautiful, perfect, but impossible to truly work with. What you have done challenges everything we thought we knew about intelligence and cooperation." Amy Rodriguez joined them, carrying her communication equipment. "Captain, I'm getting signals from 5 different star systems. Everyone wants to know about our pet Void Stalker." Jake laughed. "It's not a pet. Are you, big guy?" The creature looked at him with all 6 eyes and made a sound that almost seemed like it was laughing too. Tom Bradley, the engineer, climbed down from the upper level where he had been working on the enclosure. "The funny thing is, it's been helping. Yesterday it brought me a tool I had dropped. How did it know what I needed?" "Intelligence," Jake said simply. "It watches, it learns, it wants to help. Just like any smart animal would if you treated it." "Right." Veltar's skin shifted to show deep thought patterns. "Captain, may I ask you something personal?" "Sure. On your homeworld, how did humans become the dominant species? You are not the largest creatures, not the fastest, not the strongest." Jake considered the question while the Void Stalker rested its huge head on his lap. "We learned to work together. We learned to use tools. And we learned to work with other predators instead of just fighting them." "What do you mean?" Ryan spoke up. "Wolves became dogs, wild cats became house cats. We didn't destroy the dangerous animals. We made them our partners." Dr. Chang nodded. Humans have always been pack hunters. We understand that sometimes the best way to survive is to make your enemies into your friends. Or in this case, Jake said, patting the Void Stalker, make the most dangerous predator in the galaxy into family. The creature purred louder, as if it understood and agreed. Over the next few hours, Jake learned just how much the galaxy had changed. The Zephyrians had shared recordings of the incident with their allies. Soon, representatives from a dozen different species wanted to meet the humans who could work with Void Stalkers. The Altarian Empire wants to hire human trainers, Amy reported. The Crystal Collective is offering to trade technology for lessons on animal cooperation, and the Void Builders want to know if humans can work with their war beasts too. Jake looked at Ambassador Veltar. What do you think? Are we ready for this? Veltar's skin showed patterns that Jake had learned meant excitement mixed with nervousness. Captain, I believe your species will change the galaxy. But not in the way we expected when we first met. How do you mean? We thought humans would be another species seeking technology, trade, territory. Instead, you show us that there are different kinds of strength. The strength to understand, rather than to conquer. The Void Stalker stood up and walked to the large window that showed the stars outside. It looked out at the galaxy with its 6 glowing eyes, as if it could see the future that was coming. Jake joined it at the window. What do you think, partner? Ready to show the galaxy what teamwork really means? The creature made its soft rumbling sound and gently bumped Jake's shoulder with its massive head. In that gesture, Jake saw everything that made humans special. Not their technology or their weapons, but their ability to find friendship in the most unlikely places. Outside the window, the stars waited, and for the first time in galactic history, they would see what happened when humanity's greatest strength met the universe's most perfect predator, and both chose understanding over conflict. The age of true cooperation was about to begin.